Hi, everyone. I am sitting here in between sessions today on a Saturday. It's December 7th, 2024, for whoever happens to see this video. And I'm just going to talk. I don't even know what this video is going to be about. We'll see what comes out. How's that? Uh, so many thoughts I have running around having the last few sessions I just did. And I want to try to get my thoughts together as they're running around in my mind. And before I have some more sessions this afternoon, and I really should be cleaning, but I want to spend some time with all of you. I guess I want to start by saying I don't think uh, I don't think a lot of time that we're really paying attention to what happened to us, particularly in adulthood, and how much there's a correlation to how we were raised. Um, and uh, I've got so many clients that are really starting to open up and have realizations about things that occurred for them in childhood that we quote unquote thought were normal, and they were not. And so I guess what I'm saying and what I'm asking everyone to really think about is this very simple fact. It's when we're growing up, okay, and first of all, for my generation, and I know for many of us, I consider myself Gen X. I was born in 81, but I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. All the things that I was involved with, the culture, the fact that all of the people I hung around with were much older than me. I am a Gen Xer through and through. And so there's something to be said for parents that had their kids young, and the boomers, that's what you did. You found your partner pretty much in high school or right out of high school, and you got married and you had kids, and that's what you did. And nowadays, we would look at that as getting married. People would say if you got married right out of high school, you're getting married way too soon. So we're talking about, what we consider now to be appropriate and not so appropriate, completely different within the amount of, I'm going to be 44 this April. So within 40 years, it's changed drastically. So having said that, I think what a lot of Gen Xers came to the conclusion of realizing is that our parents were kids. They were kids growing up. And they were kids that were forced very quickly to grow up fast, which then I believe was put onto us as kids, because I just know that from so many people I talk to, and we all sort of have the same upbringing. It's really bizarre. It's actually quite bizarre. Um, some of the things that went on in all of our families. And you'll find me doing really funny skits about this type of thing in on my other channel, Wow That's Nuts. I how do I deal with things with humor, as we know. But in all actuality, there are some common denominators of things that were going on back in the day. And one of the major things I want to stress to everybody is that if and when there were problems going on within a family, you did not talk about it. That was a very, very common thing. You did not talk about it. You did not talk about it to other people. What went on behind closed doors stayed behind closed doors. Um, uh, there was no such thing really as going and getting counseling. I mean, there was, but you didn't find many people doing things like that. It was almost like growing up in that and during that time, there was this uh, bad connotation to anybody that wanted to talk about the truth or real problems, right? So that was a big one. You didn't talk about what went on within the family to anyone. Um, Whether that even be like things that, how you were punished, or or if so and so was having issues at work and you're, growing up or whatever it was very looked down upon to talk about anything. You keep that to yourself. And it was even more going on during the boomers. I mean, boomers, they were handed a book when they got their periods. My mother was handed a book by my grandmother to read. Here's a book, and you need to learn how to do this on your own because we're not going to talk about it, and I don't want to talk about it. So it led down generations of this. We brush things under the rug. We don't talk about things. And that went on in a lot of families that I talked to, a lot. So that's the first thing I want to stress that I see and hear about quite often. The second thing is the levels of we don't admit we're wrong as parents. Yeah. I'm the parent, you're the child, and if I am doing something that is wrong, you don't have a say so in it because I'm the parent and you're the child, and that's just the way it is. You don't talk back to your parents. That was the big thing. You just don't talk back to them. You just let them do and say and that's it. It's another big one that we saw a lot. And I'm even talking, not only do I'm hearing this in sessions, but also um, I remember a lot of this, even going to other of my friends' homes and seeing how they were raised and the conditions they lived under as well. That was another big one. It's just is what it is. They're the parent, you're the child, and that's the end of it. There's no accountability there if they're wrong about anything. It'd be very hard pressed to find during these generations anybody admitting that they're wrong. This is the truth. This is the truth. Now, these are just the common ones I'm hearing about. So you can go ahead and leave in the comments if this resonates with you and or maybe you didn't have these experiences, but these are common ones that I'm hearing quite often. We were punished completely different than anybody would be punished now, and there's a lot of controversy about that. Was it necessary to pick up a wooden spoon and whack the hell out of your kids until they shut up? Or did that cause further damage to all of us further on down the line? Now, they saw that growing up. The boomers got the hell beat out of them by teachers, nuns, priests. The whole community would beat your child, and that was okay. And now we're starting to think about that like that's not okay. Um, but now in today's day and age, have we gone so far that we now don't even discipline our kids because we're seeing a lot of that happen now too. And what do we know happens with either scenario? A lot of narcissism, a lot of regenerated narcissism coming on in because you know these ways weren't necessarily the right ways. And look, I, for the record, I'm going to say this. Having saw parents, as my grandparents, World War II, generation, the boomers, the Gen Xers, the millennials, the Gen Zers, right? I don't care what anybody says. I I know firsthand, and I'm not even one, but I can tell you that what something that I do know is that being a parent is the hardest job you will ever have on the planet. And so I just want to say for the record that I do not take that job lightly. I take it very seriously, actually. Even though I didn't have the blessings of having children in my life, even though that was something I very much did want, or I think I thought I did at one point. Um, I know what a hard, challenging, uh, at times gut-wrenching job it is all the way around because it's a job that you will always be criticized, right? And there will always be somebody that will say you could have done it this way or done it that way or done it better. But for all purposes of today's video, I want to talk about some of the commonalities that I am seeing and hearing in session and by a lot of people also on the internet that share these uh, these same experiences. Um, I'm going to use the word as we know it today as neglect. And back in the day, in these generations that I'm discussing, there was a lot of that. Um, there was a lot of other people watching your kids for you. Remember, our parents were young, so they were still going out a lot. And there was, if you wanted to throw your kids to whomever while you went and did this for a while, there was a lot of that. We saw a lot of that, a lot of like not knowing where your kids were for hours and hours in a day, and just that was okay. The next commonality I want to share is the fact that we all felt like we had to grow up really quick. Um, a lot of people felt that there was this they almost wanted us to be their friend real quick before the parent. Um, and a lot of my clients are expressing this whole feeling of like you were their definition of themselves, right? Um, it wasn't about finding out who you really were. It was like, I want you to do the things that will most be pleasing to me. And then we'll reward you for that because you're making me look good. There was a lot of that going on, a lot of that going on back in the day. Individuality wasn't really much of a thing. It was like, we sort of follow what we're watching on TV. This is what you go and you do without even asking you, is that what you really want? Is that the life that would be best suitable for you? It was like, well, no. You get out of high school, you go to college, and you get a great career, and you make me proud. That's what you do. Um, A lot of people also, another big one, another major one that I'm hearing is this, a lot of people feeling this major codependency to their families. Um, I can't go and do this because I need to stay here and do this for them. Um, and that people pleasing is really kind of how a lot of people are feeling that they were raised to become, because it was about supplying the parents with all the things that they need, all the validation they wanted to own and they were looking for. So they were priming and prepping the child to basically be, a yes ma'am, and do those things and make them proud. So again, that whole sense of who really are you? What boundaries do you have? No, no, no. Like enmeshed codependent families, that's not what it's about. It's about like you need to put aside all of who you are, all of what you could be. And there's a lot of holding back. There was a lot of holding people back, a lot of fear mongering. Well, you can't go out and do that job what if you don't have a pension and all this kind of stuff that um again, what at the end of the day, what was all that for? It's to please them. It wasn't about you all along. And one of the things I picked up and I said to a lot of my clients recent sessions that are talking about their experience growing up. Their parents don't even really know them. Their parents don't even know who they are. And they don't care. They don't care to hear what you're really all about, unless it's something that is going to validate them and their feelings or make them feel a special sort of way. Other than that, there's no care about your concerns, your life path, your own fears, your own desires, your own goals, and really like who you are. A lot of people, like I said, that I work with are just saying like they don't even know me at all. They don't even know who I am. So as I'm sort of putting all this together and hearing a lot of this in session, I want to raise the fact to all of you that you are your own person. You do have a mind of your own. You are not put on this planet to please anyone, including the two people that brought you into this planet or anybody else that was an authoritative figure in your life or raised you or that you were around growing up. You are not here to please them. You are not here to suit their needs. You were not born and asking for any of that. And you should be proud of the person you've become. A lot of you have overcome so much family trauma, so much hurtful, awful things that occurred within your lifetime in your family, and you turned around and you became everything they probably thought you never would. And you did something. You listened to yourself for once, not their voices in your head. It was your own. And you got to the point, a lot of you don't care. You don't care at all what anybody thinks. Besides what God thinks, right? And, besides what you really think about yourself. And I think that is one of the single most greatest accomplishments you're ever going to have in your lifetime, is to make yourself proud. And it didn't involve anybody else. Right, Miles? Yeah. He doesn't understand why I'm in this room yelling. Huh? Yeah. No? Okay. But, yeah, think about it, guys. Some of you will not identify with this video. You didn't go through these things. I think most of you will. There is no single family dynamic you will ever show me, in my lifetime at least, where I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't find some sort of uh, dysfunction. Every family has it. I don't care what family you present to me, there's going to be dysfunction there. I think where a lot of these generational curses and things that went on were lacking was uh, that ability to look within and admit fault and admit when you're wrong and say you're sorry. I think it was Derek Prince who brought up the fact that pride is before every single sin. You have to have pride before you go and decide to do that sin. And pride is the ultimate sin. It's the worst sin to have. And there was a lot of it, and still a lot of it going on to this day. A lot of my clients, their parents are older, and it's only gotten worse. It hasn't gotten any better. A lot of people have this misconception that these narcissistic types of behaviors are just going to lessen as the person gets older. Oh, they're gonna calm down when they get into old age. No, that's not the case. Most of them get worse. So the other thing I'm going to stress to all of you is if there's any advice I could give to anyone, do everything in your absolute power to have full and total control over your own life. Okay? Don't accept anybody's help. Most people that will ever help you in their life, and I mean this, you'll be very, even people that will do nice things for you. It's interesting. People do nice things for you, but even on a subconscious level, they're expecting something back in return, or the same level of gift, or the same level of treatment. Even at a time where you can't provide that. A lot of people that's what they're doing. They don't even know that they're doing it, but that's what they're doing. And so, you know, if you're going to accept any help or gifts or anything, make sure you know who that's coming from, and make sure that you're in total control over your own environment at all times, and do everything you can to have that. And just don't ever allow anyone to hold you back in life. I don't care who they are. Don't allow it ever for you. You have to create a life for yourself, because at the end of the day, God could decide to take whomever out of your life tomorrow, and you are going to have to know what you're going to do and figure that out. And life is sometimes really, really hard, and it can be really cruel. And there's suffering. There's just suffering for so many people. There's suffering. And don't make any of your suffering more than it ever has to be by allowing toxic people to control uh, the dynamics within your life, or what you're going to have, or how they're gonna treat you today, or what they're going to expect from you, because it's getting harder out there, you guys. It's getting a lot harder to find people that actually have empathy, people that actually really care about others other than themselves. As I did the video the other day about everybody living in this perception of just from their own themselves. One of my clients just reminded me today how God said in the end times there'd be a lot of knowledge. And thank God, as I said to her, thank God that we have it and we're sharing it with one another, because as I said, can you imagine all the people out there that are going to die not having this knowledge? and not knowing what the heck is going on in their lives for them to be who they are now and try to figure this all out. A lot of people go on their entire lives living in their shame and guilt that was put onto them as children. And they lived with that and they became the statistic and all kinds of other things. Or they just, they died not knowing and they still died with all that unnecessary shame. It never had to happen. There could have been healing there. There could have been change. There could have been another shot in life had you known what the heck happened to you. So, yeah, I I want all of you to know that have figured this out that I definitely see you and I hear you and I know. And and it's okay to tell the truth. There's so many incidences and where we see in the Bible where the truth teller really, really lived in suffering. And I mean, look at Jesus. You know, Jesus picked his disciples and still got betrayed by two of them. Big time. So, um, yeah, life is very unpredictable. But if there's one thing I will share that I do know, it's that I know life without Jesus, and I don't ever want to know that life again. He sustains me. He has gotten me through quite a bit. Um, and I, I, I wish to show more people about him that I can, uh, that he is so real. He's as real as anything else. He's the most real. All this other stuff that mostly goes on this earth is crap. Bunch of crap. And he knows that too. But the beautiful things that he's given us are the things that we need to concentrate on the most. And it's even the little things, that are going to sustain you and give you the right attitude to get through this life. Because I know, and God knows, trying to do this life without him is not something I would wish on anyone. And that's what we are ultimately seeing with narcissists. Narcissists is that they're going along without any sort of um, presence of God in their life. And that's how they're able to do the things that they do day in and day out, is that they have no one that they're accountable to, no one that they believe in. The end of their belief ends with themselves, which is horrific if you think about it. But that's how they're all able to do the horrible things that they do and able to be as evil as they are. I don't really care what anybody says. I will always say, take all the labels, throw them all out the window. I don't want to hear it. Bipolar, BTD, narcissistic personality disorder, schizophrenia, blah, blah, blah. I mean, from everything I know and that I've seen in my lifetime, this is just my opinion now. I'm sharing my opinion. I believe that demonic influences play such a huge role in what happens to people in their lifetime and what they can do in fixing it. And we are living in a world where you go and fix it by sessions with therapists and doctors. And to be honest with you guys, those are the times I get the help the most. So I'm going to leave you with that. Those are the times I was even more lost and stuck within the webs of more evil within my life. So yeah, I think if more people went back to the way things were before, we went way too far with the medicine. The medicine. You take all the labels out for a minute, and you will see. Even if you knew God just this much, right? And there were none of these labels, I guarantee you, you'd be able to look at that person and that person, and that person has something over them, something inflicting them, their thoughts, their behaviors. There's something wrong with them. And why do they all act the same? Still don't have any doctor or scientist that can answer that one for us, can they? No, they can't. So I'll leave you with that. That's all I really wanted to say today. I hope this message reaches your broken, hurt heart. And God only knows that I don't want to see you hurt anymore, have to go through one more round with these people. The reality is that there's options for all of us. We do have options. It's just that we have to seek out the ones that are best for us in, the time that we have and the circumstances that we have, and trying to get out and get the best life we can possibly have for the short time we're here. I'm Trace Face. It's time we all face the truth together.